happy Friday to my friends and family and clients out there in the world. I am super stoked to bring to y'all Mr. Jon Cheplak. Like, y'all, this is going to be so amazing. And I am so thrilled that you agreed to join me today. I started following you about a year and a half ago, and I was just like, this guy, I've got to figure out who this is. And I was super stoked, reached out to him a couple of times and ended up joining with you on your select coaching, sat in your living room at your home in Las Vegas. And I was like, yes, these are my people. So I'm super excited to have you today, and just wanted to give you an opportunity to tell everyone about who you are, your background, and just let us know all the good stuff about Jon.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here. As long as I've been doing this, anytime someone reaches out and wants me to share, and especially someone like yourself who, we talked about it before we came on, you're someone that is stepping through those doorways of discomfort. I've done it for many, many years. I get the privilege of working with people like you in my environment, you coming into the events that I've held at my home, events we've held around the country. And those are the things that you have to do is you have to step into those rooms and you have to get uncomfortable. And so my hat's off to you and what you've done. And it's a pleasure to bring some value to the people today.
Yeah. I have to just say a little bit real quickly. I don't think I told you this, but when I went to Las Vegas, it was in January. So I had just recently changed into EXP. I had just started this team. I had one agent at the time. And I remember walking through your door, and I think it was your daughter that might have been like making sure everyone was on the list, right? And I'm like, yeah, and she gave me my stuff. And I walked in and I saw the room, and these people that I saw, like I had seen them online and such. And I actually stopped, turned around and walked back outside because I was like, holy cow.
My goodness. That is so good.
And then I was like, I remember Veronica actually telling me, you deserve to be in that space. So so I just walked right in. It was a great moment. And I like,
I want everyone to hear that, I think that's really, really important because there's a lot of people. I was afraid. My fear got in the way, of I could have had much quicker growth in business and in life if fear had not gotten in the way. And so I think the big thing as you look at it is you're not alone, because those people that are in the room that you look up to, they walked the mile in your shoes before too, and they were afraid and walked through. So I want people, first of all, great job on your part, not because whatever event it is, you guys, is if there's a room that you're curious about and you see that people are in there, whether it's mine or anyone else's, walk through that doorway. Because the neat thing is you're going to sit in a room with people that have the same fears, frustrations, and challenges you do. And you'll say, oh, this is where I belong. I'm cool.
Exactly. And that's what I found was that, even though, I may be new as a team leader, I was not new to the industry. So I knew all this stuff that people were saying. And then it was about video work. And this was what I actually really enjoy doing this. I don't mind this at all. Like, I'm not fearful of going on camera or anything like there's a little bit of like, ooh, but and so it's like, I'm actually okay right here. Like, I feel pretty good.
That was the event we did with Kyle and Dan. Yeah, sure.
It was great. That was super good. So, well, I also have enjoyed the fact that under your coaching, one of the first things that I learned was to get very clear on your vision and your standards and your principles, and to be very committed to them. And that has really, really changed just me personally, as far as making sure that anyone that comes onto my team fits that mold and understands why we are the B major team, what that stands for. And I just love that is probably first and foremost of one of the first things that I learned just stepping into that space with you guys. So I wanted to let you kind of elaborate a little bit on that before I get to the questions that some people have said, "Ooh, can you ask him this for me?"
Sure.
What is that that base, I guess, that basic stuff that you really need to know as a team leader or broker?
Sure, and I'd take it down even to an individual agent and into our personal lives. It was pretty neat. One of the things that you talked about is before we came on, and as you looked at what I was talking about and what you'd seen from a distance is making sure that also that your personal life is in alignment with it. And the last thing I ever want to convey to anyone is perfection. My goodness sakes, the day I'm perfect is the day I'm done. That's never going to happen. It keeps us striving. But one of the things to look at is, no matter where you're at in your business, that next step of growth, no matter where you're at personally, that next level of growth is always going to be rooted in your principles, in your values, and your mission. And I think that early on in our careers, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but as I talk to people, because I think we've all had that training of, you need to have a mission statement, you need to have a vision statement, you need to have values, you need to have principles. And you'll even see organizations go so far as to, they put it on the wall, they've got posters, and there's these big college words on the wall. I mean, most people don't even see them there. If they see them, they don't know what they mean. But worse yet is you don't see leadership like attached to them, like
Yeah.
connected to them and unwavering to them. So I think that at first in our business careers, as we're coming in, we believe it's talent. I've got to learn, I've got to know. And believe me, and here I sit as a teacher and as a coach and as a consultant. Sure, it's important. I'm constantly seeking and learning, and that. I just spent 3 days with a coach of mine up in Seattle just 2 weeks ago. But it's all for naught if you don't have a foundation. And I look back at the probably first 3/4 of my career. I was taught principles, I was taught values, I was taught mission, and I heard them, and I may have talked about them as I was maturing. And so I still have my immaturities, and I will to the day I fall over in business and in life, because that's what we're growing through. But in the first, I'd say 3/4 of my career, there were words that maybe I regurgitated, heard, and or talked about. But then when I really captured and looked at, okay, I've had some business growth, but what's the difference between me and those that have had whether it's a higher trajectory, a more sustainable business than me? They were rooted in principles and values, because what's going to happen is I get distracted just like everyone else does. I want to negotiate with myself just like everyone else does. But, the constant thing I tell myself is stop negotiating. Well, what are you going to negotiate based on? And so what I look at is, number one, what is your mission? And these are just my definitions. Mission to me is to serve, lead, and inspire people that want to have a positive life experience in the real estate business. And here's what I know with that mission. And what I'd share with you and everyone that's watching, and if you may watch the recording, is that it has to have the greater good in mind. It has to have the greater good in mind. Serve, lead, inspire people who want to have a positive life experience as a result of the real estate business. Now, here's what's interesting. I'd say to everyone too, though, because I'm guessing it's mostly going to be real estate folks that are watching this, is real estate isn't who you are. It's what you do to experience who you are in life at the highest level. And so you've got to look at it as a vehicle. So you've got to have that mission. Now, vision is an interesting one. And I've had this conversation with people is, a lot of times people come back to you and say that you're not growing because you don't have a big vision. And you know something, Nicole, if you were to ask the folks, and maybe you have before, that are in our rooms that we hang out with, how many of them do you ever think were reflecting, thinking, I'm going to sell 500 homes, I'm going to sell 1,000 homes? Like none of them.
Right.
Like none of them. They didn't have this big vision. Maybe as things started to evolve and there was some growth, whoa, there's some possibilities. But here's what I would say is around that piece of vision is focus on process. I didn't have this vision that, today, I mean, what is it? 7 of the top 9 teams in the world, one of the largest franchises, are coaching clients of mine. It's like, or 6, I don't want to exaggerate. It's like, I did not have a vision to coach all of those people and say that I coach with people. You know what I have a vision to be? The absolute very best at what I do every single day. So when you look at vision, sure, I'm not saying don't have these big hopes and dreams, but something, have it rooted in something that is process-based. Principles and values, really what they are is they're our true north, because we're
Yeah.
going to get distracted. You're going to be and you're talking about people that come on your team. I look at people, places, and things. And so, well, I like this person, I don't like this person. Well, based on what? Based on emotions? Based on emotions? No, you've got to have relationships based on principles. So values for me, and I'll share what they are. It's the experience that I want to have, and it's the experience that I want people to have of me when they're in my community or when they're interacting with me. So mine are fun, love, dignity, respect, humility, vulnerability, transparency. And think about this, you guys. If you are striving, by no means perfection, if you're striving every day to have fun, let others feel fun, love yourself, which is not an easy one, and show love to others, dignity, respect, humility, vulnerability, transparency, you can't lose. Now, the anchor to that, though, is principles. And the best thing that I would share with people, or the best description, is principles are law.
Yeah.
And they're my stop sign. When I roll up to a stop sign and see it, that's law. Maybe I've rolled through a couple times. But right. And so they're law, and they come. So when you have those internalized, just like and I share, as y'all hear me share this stuff is internalized too. It's not just some words that are on the wall or that I talked about. They are internalized. They're part of my fabric. They're what I go back and revisit. So when I look at principles are that law. The first one is, and it's the most important one. And listen, y'all, anything I share with people, I didn't make up or create. I'm a product of brilliance that came before me. On a side note, I love people hearing they copied me. Well, who'd you learn it from? Come on, man.
Yeah.
But here's the one that you got to have: personal responsibility.
Amen.
If you change what you don't own, otherwise you'll be a bumper car in life. So the next one is commitment. And I personally believe in abandoning goals, because goals are a good idea. The commitment's the truth. And the reason for having the truth is, with a true measurement, I can decide recognize what worked, what didn't work, and then I can make the changes. But when you live in this area of vagueness and grayness, well, I got close and I tried. We're so afraid of commitment because we don't want to be judged. I'm not being judged. I have a third party observer who is giving me feedback based on a measurement. And so then at that point in time, I can choose to change. So commitment. Number 3 is accountability. The probably toughest one, because it's most uncomfortable, but it's really uncomfortable for people, Nicole, because most of us haven't been held accountable the right way. We've been judged. And so we relate accountability to judgment, but you can't get better if you don't have accountability in your life. And then the final one, the fourth one, from principles, and these are my anchors. Am I demonstrating personal responsibility? Am I demonstrating commitment? Do I have a willingness to accountability? And the fourth one, contribution. And simply put, with that one, you can't keep, if you want to keep what you have, you got to give it away and help other people. So it's, I don't need skills and talent if I operate in principle, because if I operate in principles, I'll keep moving forward, and skills and talent will be acquired.
Absolutely. I love that. In fact, I heard you talk about commitments and goals. And so we have a weekly meeting with my team, and every week we do, and I think this came from you too, via Veronica, 2 business and 1 personal. And initially we talked about them being goals. And I think I heard this and I was like, a goal is like this lofty thing, but a commitment is real. And so like a couple weeks ago, I reminded the team, like, let's talk about what the definition of a commitment is, so we kind of went down that. And I said, so when you give me your 2 business and 1 personal commitments, make them hard enough that you got to work for it, but don't put them out there so far that they're not achievable. Like, we're talking about a week. We're doing 7 days here. So, I think it was a couple weeks ago, my assistant, her name's Dana. So shout out to you, Dana. She's like, I hit all my commitments. And I was like, yes, you did. I was like, heck, that is so good, because most of them get like, half or like so close. But I love that they're willing to sit down and get, and I'm always like, no, let's get more detailed. No, that's a little vague. Let's go a little deeper, and then, I need to remember to share that myself. What are my two business and what's my personal commitment? Because I need just as much accountability to be held on that too. So I love being in this space because this is what really drives you to really step it up just a little bit more. So
that's it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm going to get to my first question because this was someone who reached out to me and really love this particular agent and rather new. And I think there's so many out there that are going to watch this that jumped into the real estate agent role over the last year or two and are now going to be like, what am I doing? So if you were a new agent, what would you say maybe the top one or two things that they could focus on right now to help them succeed in this market moving forward?
Sure. And is that an agent on a team or an agent, individual agent?
This is an agent that is on, I'm going to use the word team very loosely because as you and I both know, a lot of brokerages allow you to hang their license in their space, but don't really have a team.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, let me do both. I'll handle both.
Okay.
Both. If I was an individual agent and I was starting my business right now, if for some reason, this whole thing just blew up and you're no longer a coach and I had to go out and sell real estate tomorrow, the number one thing, if I'm in an environment, I would go find the top agents and I would go ask them if there are any leads that they have, any buyers or sellers that they just don't have time for, pass them to me. I'll pay you a referral fee. I mean, out of the gate. And you'd be shocked. I mean, the growth of your business is inside your business, not outside your business. Let them know that, hey, I'll take anything that you have that you think you're too busy for, what have you. And they'd be shocked if they're in a brokerage with a number of agents. Okay. I'll do also what I did. And the nice thing is I share this. It's not something out of a book. This was my life 34 years ago. I would go and I would knock, and you may not like this, but if you're asking this question, you've taken the time to ask this question, you want to succeed. And my job is to bring the truth. I'll give you exactly what I did. I would go knock 100 doors and ask people if they want to sell their home. I went to a Tommy Hopkins, and Nicole, you're probably too young to even know who Tommy Hopkins is.
I'm 46.
Yeah. Okay. I went to a Tommy Hopkins seminar, and it wasn't real estate based, but it was sales based. And he said, go out and knock on doors. So I knocked 100 doors a day and I made 100 cold calls a day.
Wow.
It was really, really simple. And then I knocked on every for sale by owner's door. And then what I would do, what's really neat that I don't have. So that's number one. Number two, I would every single day, I would post something on social media 3 times a day: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all 3 of them. I look at those 3 as ABC, NBC, and CBS. You can get on TV for free. You can get on TV for free. I think it's at 8 p.m. This was a quote a couple of years ago. Twice as many people log on to Facebook every night as at 8 p.m. in the United States as watch a Super Bowl ad worldwide.
Dang.
That's eyeballs. You're in an eyeballs game. And so I'd share this with anyone brand new and anyone, even someone that because brand new, I know some experienced people that are feeling brand new right now because the market's a little bit different, and they came into the business when it was, take a call, open the door, write the deal, get a check, rinse and repeat. But I can promise someone this: if you will knock 100 doors a day, and you will knock 100, you will call 100 people a day, and if you see a for sale by owner, you stop and knock on their door, and you post 3 times a day. I would post something inspirational. Listen, the world needs positivity, and don't get caught up when you're new. And I remember this early. This is in my immaturity early in business of, well, but I can't do that because other people do that. I mean, stupid, right? Sure, you can. If someone else is doing it and doing it repeatedly, it's probably working, and we all copy everyone. Good grief. So,
Yep.
something inspirational, motivational, something positive, something personal. Take people inside your personal life. If your dog is really, really important to you, listen, us dog lovers, we're a bunch of weirdos, man. You'll get a bunch of prospects from
It's
that.
true.
Yeah. So, but something, if you're a musician and you practice music, if you're athletic, if you like the outdoors, so something inspirational, something personal, and then something that's business based. And, when I tell people post 3 times a day, they give me that look of, oh, you're a spammer. No, because it takes you down to the basic of sales training: know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. Nicole, like, we didn't talk too much about this, but you probably got exposed online and you got to see some different elements of me personally, professionally, because I share across those things. So in the simplest terms, and watch this, I don't care if interest rates go to 20%. If you knock 100 doors a day, you make 100 calls a day, and you don't even have to hit the FISBOs, and you do your social media post, game over. Game over. And you may say to me, well, I'm too busy. Doing what? Doing what? If you're either new or you're struggling, your job is to prospect. I love it. You've got a dog lover. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. The last time I went live, he decided to bark at the neighbors walking by too. So
awesome. It's good. Well, this is an example of, and here's what's really good. As we're doing this, you guys, see, some of you, most of you would get really uptight right now. And it's authentic. You get to, Brittany and I were speaking this morning. I said to her, I love my graphic designer who does graphic work for me. And I want you guys to hear this, because a lot of you have stuff you're letting sit in the can that needs to be put out there, but it doesn't look right.
It's not
I will
perfect.
tell you that the beautiful graphics that we're creating do not even, with the same message, do not even perform close to the level of when I take a picture of Nicole. Nicole did this, she's doing this. It's crazy. So in its simplest of terms, I mean, you keep your social media active and do video. You got to do video. So
love that. And I've been working very hard on video and trying to entice my team to do the same. They're not quite on board as much as I am, but we're getting there. So,
well, at least you're walking the talk for them. A lot of leaders will ask people, and I think this is an important thing, and I love that you recognize that, is, are you doing the things you're asking your people to do? It's really that simple. You didn't get to graduate because now you're a team leader, or you're a broker owner, or whatever. Well, now I get to tell you what to do, but I'm not going to do it. Well, that's the big reason. People will follow a leader, and a leader takes footsteps in front of them. So,
yep. If I'm going to ask them to sit down and make calls, I'm sitting down and making calls too. Like, I'll sit right next to you. Let's do this all day long. Yep. So I did have one other call, or excuse me, a question that they wanted to say was, if they wanted to someone wanted to hop on the Cheplak coaching site or whatever, what does coaching with either you or one of the coaches on your team look like, and what could they expect?
Sure. And here's where I'd go to. I'll give you that. But what I want to give to everyone is a real objective view on what coaching is. And it can be coaching that you get. Nicole's coach. She's a leader, and so she coaches people every day. The first thing that I want to say to you from an overarching perspective is, you want a coach, you want a team leader like Nicole, a broker owner that can be that third party observer. And that's number one, that person that's an other pair of eyes, because that's the toughest thing for us to do as human beings is, the greatest transmutation we can make is getting above and looking down on ourselves, not looking down, but looking down and observing ourselves and seeing, oh, that worked, that didn't work. So it is knowing that it's someone that's that other pair of eyes. That's what we choose to be. Stylistically, for me, what I look at is there is a science and an art. I mean, and every personality is very, very different. Um, I think that coaching that works, and I can't comment on other coaching companies, and that's not what you're asking me to do. But my sense is a lot of it is very, very numbers based. And someone that's listening to this may say, well, of course it is. This is a numbers game. Well, last time I checked, humbly, my people's numbers are smoking everyone else's.
Yep.
Period. Veronica's number one in the world EXP. Dan's number one in the world EXP, and the what's six of. I mean, it keeps happening. So I think what you can expect from us, and what I'd really ask you to expect from anyone, any leader, and then if you are a leader, because it's kind of proven. It was proven by me as a branch manager. It was proven by me as an executive, and it's proven by me now. Is really leaning towards, and there's all different personalities, but really leaning towards the human element of it. And people, well, I need to know how to hire an ISA. Well, I need to know how to do this. Well, Nicole, you've been in our rooms and exposed enough to know that we've got all that stuff.
Yeah.
We have all that stuff. What you're going to get is someone that's going to walk alongside you, and what you need to look for, whether it's our coaching or any other coaching. You've got to have someone that's going to develop you both personally and professionally, and you've got to have absolute transparency with that person. And you may say to me, folks, that, well, no, that's none of their business. They need to just show me how to do the business. They need to this. Well, how is that going to work if they give you a strategy or a tactic that's proven, you keep coming back and not getting the result, but they don't know that you've got a child with a health condition that is tearing your guts out?
Right.
Because I've been there. Or that you're going through a divorce that feels like it's next to death, because I've been there. Or that you've got some mental health issues, and I'll bring it up, mental health issues yourself, that is such a sensitive thing, and it's judged. But it's
you can
very,
bring it up
very
all day
clear.
long in my space, all day long.
Yeah, you have self-doubt, you have depression, you have a history of abandonment if you're a team leader. See, this is why the people we work with do really, really big things, because we go really, really, really deep, and we get into substance with people. Because if I have someone, watch this, if I have someone, a team leader that's experienced abandonment in their life, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. They're going to grow. The first time someone leaves them, they'll freeze.
Yep.
They will freeze. And it's not that experience. It's not that experience that happened there. They're relating it to an experience from the past they have not worked through.
Right. And their mind and their body remembers this. And so that's their immediate reaction, because that's
Trigger.
how they protected themselves before. It's how we're going to protect ourselves now. Protect.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that with our coaches, they're going to, and I would hope, and I would ask, whether, and I appreciate asking about our coaching, but I just want to encourage people, because some people may hear this and, Cheplak's not my cup of tea, and that's okay. My cup of tea is making sure that your cup is full. And so if you're listening to this, it's got to be someone that's willing to go deep with you on a personal level, because if you keep coming back, I mean, you're going to feel, you're not going to build confidence, because you're going to come back, not get results. The coach is going to say, well, what's getting in the way? It's going to wait. Well, I tried this. I tried that. I don't care how hard you try something that's proven. If you have personal things going on that you are holding in and you're not working on a daily basis. Yep. So you're going to have coaches that are going to meet you where you're at. You're going to have coaches that don't, it's not cookie cutter coaching. Every single call is different. You have coaches. I think the most important thing is me allowing each one of, not that I allow, but to be themselves. They don't have to do it Jon Cheplak's way. So,
well, and that's what I love too, is that, I started under Veronica for coaching, and, spent my time with her, and I learned a lot. And, she helped me make the next steps that I needed to make. And she was right there next to me. And to be honest, when this all went down, I freaked out. I was crying. I was a complete disaster. I'm sitting in the bathtub and I'm texting her. She is on vacation. And I said, I know you're on vacation, but everything is just about to blow up, and I don't know what to do. This is not what I was expecting. And she's like, can I call you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.? And I'm like, well, oh my God, you're on vacation. You don't have to. She sent me something really sweet and she called me. She's like, baby girl, what do we need to do? And I was just like, oh, thank you so much. And then after my time with her, she knew that I needed someone who's been where I am right now fairly recently. She recommended Jenna. And she's like, I need you to hang, like, when you come back in with Jenna. I'm like, okay. So, and it's been perfect. And like yesterday, my coaching with Jenna, like, I was like, I'm freaking out and I don't, and she's like, all right, okay.
You got this.
So, but if you're not open and honest with them, a coach can't help you, a mentor, whoever, your team leader, your broker, you have to have that ability to bounce back and forth. So
well, and it comes back to my values that I share. And by no means, when I restate the values, I'm striving for them daily. I said fun, love, dignity, respect. People don't hear the last three that have allowed me, and these are the personal level, which I want to overflow into my business: humility, vulnerability, transparency. Because if you're that willingness to be humble and be exposed and vulnerable, that gives you the opportunity to growth, for growth, but it also gives that coach that opportunity to understand and walk alongside you and support you.
Yeah.
It's got to be, it has to be a deep, and I think in that too is when you look at coaching, whether it's someone looking for coaching, and when I look at coaching, I look at it because I'm still a branch manager in my eyes. I'm still a general manager of a company in my eyes. Is that person that you can come to where you're going to feel safety.
Yeah.
So you can have that humility, vulnerability, and transparency, but also tension, not stress. Tension is where they're going to ask those thought-provoking questions that allow you to self-discover, see where you're at, own it, and then course correct where you need to. So it's a combination of safety and tension. The thing to look at is or be aware of is you don't want a coaching relationship or a team leader relationship where there's stress. Now, with that said, some of the stress, most stress is brought on by ourselves, probably all of it if we're living in personal responsibility. And a lot of times in our business, it comes down to not taking the right action steps every day. Are you taking the consistent action steps every single day? So, yeah. So that's, I think that's, twofold in that answer is that's what I think coaching should look like. That's what our coaching looks like, while with, the different flavor, like you mentioned with Veronica and then a Jenna. And I think the thing to look at, which I hope people capture, is the abundance. The abundance, instead of a coach, and I love hearing this because I didn't even know about that behind the scenes conversation, so to speak, is that because I'm not trying to control things, is that abundant spirit where a coach isn't sitting there saying, well, you should stay with me and here's why and here's this. No, it's a coach that is looking at your best interest. And this isn't even about coaching. It's the same as a salesperson. Are you thinking about maybe you're not the best person to work with a certain buyer? Maybe you're not and this, maybe you're not the best person to list someone's house. And I'll tell you, that's operating in principle. And when you can operate in principle, it is unbelievable the times where I've chose abundance over scarcity, where I've chose the best interest of others over me. I will back away from anything where it's like, you know what? That's sure. I'm in a for-profit business and I'm going to think in that way. But the times when I look at and go, is that, something? No, I'm going to step away from that because I need to look at the other person's best interest. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. That's why we communicate because I think that's just so beautiful because that's where I align very well with your coach, just your style or everything. That's who I am. And that's what I want to continue to strive to be is client focused, people focused. And whatever that is for me, I'm really good. So,
well, I can tell you right now, as I observe it, is that your willingness, I think that sometimes too is the mistake you can make in coaching and in leadership, man, there's nothing better than someone coming to me or you coming forward to a coach saying, hey, listen, I'm in a mess right now. Awesome. Hey, I'm not performing right now. Awesome. Because all the energy that it takes for you to hide it and wear the mask, I take people back to and that's our thing with our need for approval. And, what I'm hearing you is, listen, John, the only approval I want is I want to show up at the highest version of me every day. And I want to deliver at the highest level to the people I work with or that choose to trust in me. The only way you can do that is having that vulnerability. So it's really big. I hope people capture that.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Like, this has been amazing. And I added your website to the show notes. So if anyone wanted to reach out, they can. And any last words from the
Sure. What I would love, and it's interesting. Thank you for sharing your story of how you walked into the room. I've walked into the room. I remember that I paid a lot of money to be in a mastermind about 7 years ago. And so there's 40 people in this horseshoe. It's confidential. So it's a lot of online marketer, coach people outside of our industry. And I walk in that room and I'm like, and so you've got to introduce yourself. And I said, hi, I'm Jon Cheplak, and I'm the best damn salesman on the planet. And these people and I'm talking about $100 million revenue businesses, not sales volume, looked at me and said, because I don't know how the hell I sold y'all into letting me in this room. Sell yourself on yourself. If something is uncomfortable, walk through that doorway. And I can tell you, when you walk through that doorway, you'll be shocked to find how humble and vulnerable those people that you may look up to or look at and think, oh my gosh, they're so different than me. They're just like you.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, y'all enjoy your Friday. We'll be back here next week. Talk soon.
Thanks so much.